Tuesday morning to you. I'm Heather Brown here, and this is our CBS News Minnesota's morning update. You're going to want to grab that raincoat if you are headed out the door this morning. Scattered showers all over the metro area, so it may be raining where you are, but it may not be, but it may later on today. So just keep your umbrella handy out there. By noon, it should clear on out. Still a nice day, though, and temperature-wise there, but then some of those scattered showers coming back later on tonight before you got a nice evening ahead, and the hot weather moving in later on tonight and into tomorrow. It's summertime, right? So we should expect that. We should also expect a lot of travel out there. But when you're away from work, we're asking people today, do you actually unplug? Can you do it? Can you physically do it? Can you take your email off of your phone? We know that the popularity of going off the grid while traveling was already on the rise before the pandemic, but there's new numbers that show it's become even more popular ever since, right? We're trying to take care of our mental health, hopefully a little bit better. Here's a recent poll from LinkedIn. 55% of people who are planning a vacation say that they will be fully disconnecting from work. Then you got a quarter of people saying they'll check in daily. And then you got 11 that say, oh, I will be ready to respond at a moment's notice. So we want to know what you're doing. Where do you fall on that spectrum there? Do you put your out of office reply on your email, and do you really do it? Are you able to do it? Are you thinking about your mental health? Does it make a difference for you? Love to hear what you have to say about this. It's actually something I've been thinking about a lot. Disconnecting when you get home at night, or disconnecting when you're on vacation. I'm headed out next week, and I thought, maybe just put that out of office reply and don't look back until you return to about 1,000 emails on that Monday. But if you're watching here on Facebook, let us know. We'd love to read through some of your comments later on in this show. We do begin this morning with a tragic discovery in Texas. Authorities say that close to 4 dozen migrants were found dead inside of a tractor trailer in San Antonio. 16 people were found alive. They were taken to the hospital. So the high temperature yesterday in San Antonio, 101 degrees. This truck was found abandoned in a secluded part of the city. You can only imagine what the temperature was like in the truck. 3 people are in custody, and federal investigators are now on the case. The House committee investigating the January 6th insurrection has called a surprise hearing for today. The panel has not revealed the topic of the hearing, but sources telling some local newspapers, some newspapers here, that it could be a White House aide there. They do expect to present new evidence, raising the expectations of a potential new bombshells there. The committee did recently obtain some unseen footage from a documentarian with access to former President Trump all in those days leading up to January 6th. Today's hearing will be televised and is scheduled to begin at noon. Well, monkeypox is now here in Minnesota. We detected our first case of it. Minnesota Department of Health officially testing there. That brings the case count to just over 200 people since May here in the U.S. Our first case, though, here in Minnesota. Department of Health says that a Twin Cities man tested positive for the disease after traveling to Europe in May. He is getting outpatient care. He's recovering okay. They don't believe that he has spread that disease to anyone else, because they are doing contract tracing for that for monkeypox here. The disease originated in Africa, and since the beginning of May, more than 4,000 cases have been reported. This is in 47 countries around the world. But at this point, we talked to a doctor down at Mayo who said he doesn't believe it's a huge concern here in Minnesota.
It's mutated a little bit from the strain that came out of Africa. That strain was associated with less than 1% mortality rate, so a very low rate, and that's probably an overestimate.
So here are the symptoms to look out for. Fever, headache, muscle aches. Then you get that distinct rash, right? The one that looks like blisters or pimples there. That can spread. It spreads person to person, monkeypox does, through close contact with the rash or scabs or bodily fluids. You can also contract it through face-to-face contact, but that face-to-face really has to be over several hours, making it less contagious than COVID-19. High gas prices have more and more people turning to public transit. Last month, Metro Transit averaged 120,000 riders during the day. So it's still less than half of the 2019 highs, but it's the most since the start of the pandemic. You see people coming back into the office. You see those high gas prices there, right? A number of bus routes, though, especially the express routes, they have not gone back to their pre-pandemic levels. And making it tough, some of those people coming from the suburbs, they want those express buses there, too. Metro Transit, though, says their biggest problem here is trying to get bus drivers, right? They say they are 200 right now short of being fully staffed, and that could take some time. So we've been talking about this forever, right? Prices up on almost everything, but now one state here is planning to do something about it. We've talked about it here in Minnesota. Those so-called WALS checks hasn't gone anywhere here, but in California, 23 million people will get so-called inflation relief checks. Those who made less than $75,000 a year would get $350 per adult. Then they get another $350 if they have kids. Money all part of a budget deal that was just reached by the governor and state lawmakers. Gas prices, look at that there in California. You think we had it bad here. $6.31 is the average there for regular unleaded, which is about $1.50 higher than the national average, almost $2 higher than what we're paying here in Minnesota. Juul. Yep, the e-cigs there. They're asking a federal appeals court to block the FDA's ban on its e-cigarettes and flavored pods. So this is an emergency motion. It was just filed. Juul's calling the FDA's action, quote, extraordinary and unlawful. The FDA did tell Juul that they have to stop selling the products. This is amid, of course, a surge in youth vaping. On Friday, an appeals court temporarily halted the ban. It's still trying to decide whether Juul can keep selling the items as it is fighting the FDA decision. We're also watching developments at the airport right now. Hundreds of off-duty Delta airline pilots say they plan to picket this week. So they want more pay, and they want the carrier to change its schedules, they say, to reduce flight disruptions there. Union officials say that the pilots haven't had increase in wages since 2016. Delta saying it's been in contract negotiations earlier this year after talks were halted for 2 years during the pandemic. So we'll see what happens there, especially as we head into this 4th of July big travel weekend. Animal Humane Society, this is a great story, celebrating a generous donation, the largest in its 150-year history. Yeah, $6 million coming from Steve Nordberg and Betsy McDonald. They willed it to the shelter. The two of them passed away a few years ago. And while they were here, were logging those volunteer hours, mostly bottle feeding those little kitties there. So the Humane Society, the Animal Humane Society, says the majority of the money will go towards its new facility in St. Paul. And they say this thing is going to be more than a shelter, but a true experience for pets and their owners.
We will be in every aspect helping people and their pets, enhanced vet services, more space for humane investigations. Everything we do plus more that we haven't been able to do because we have limitations in all of our buildings.
Yeah, you're going to want to go here. They got cat yoga, a dog amphitheater, agility training, so much more. They do expect to break ground on that building in 2024. A big honor for a black professional golfer who became a pioneer in his sport. Solomon Hughes Sr. fought to integrate the game of golf. He also advocated to get more young people out on the course. So now the new clubhouse at the Hiawatha Golf Course in Minneapolis will bear his name. There you go, Solomon Hughes Sr. Clubhouse. It was in 1948 that Hughes fought to integrate this very clubhouse.
However, in 1952, here in the Hiawatha Clubhouse is where he made a stride. Up until 1952, everyone, black golfers could come out here play on this championship 18-hole course. They could not come inside. My dad thought this was unjust, it was unfair, and was very, very discriminatory. So he and a few golfers demand they change that rule. In 1952, that rule was changed to allow golfers to come inside of the clubhouse.
And of course, Solomon Hughes Sr.'s son, Solomon Hughes Jr., the clubhouse officially known there, as you can see, after his name. Are you searching for some oohs and ahs later on this week? Yep, the fireworks shows are coming back. 4th of July coming back in full force after a pandemic had canceled a few of them. And if you want to find one in your neighborhood, we have made it easy for you. See that? WCCO.com. Go there. We've gone through all the neighborhoods, all the lists. There's a huge long list on the website. You can find it right under main headlines. Let's head back to today's talker, because I'd love to know what you're saying about unplugging. Can you actually do it? How often do you check in? Let's get the real deal here. And first, we're hearing from Michelle. Says, I start my staycation. Oh, those are the best, right? Tomorrow for the next 7 days, and I don't plan on checking in at all. You go, Michelle. It's important to disconnect and take time away. Absolutely, right? I mean, I think we're finding more and more of that as we pay closer and closer attention to our mental health there, that you just need that time away to breathe a little bit. Who else do we have here coming up? We got Becca. I'm a daily check-in kind of person, but will only respond if it really can't wait. I get that, right? You just kind of know, like, what's going on? What's still happening? I'm still kind of curious if any sort of big news has dropped over there. Okay, Becca, we'll give you that one. Jackie says, I have no problem unplugging from work at all. That's what out of office is for. Yep, absolutely use it for work, but my fave game gets extra time while on car trips. That work-life balance at its best, right? We're always on that balance beam. We're always there trying to figure this out. Hey, thanks everybody for sharing. Thanks for sharing your experiences, sharing your stories, and for just being with us here today. We are CBS News Minnesota's Morning Update, your only local streaming news source. Great to be with you here today. We'll see you back here at 7:30 tomorrow morning.